Something that often surprises people about metal is just how ductile it is. Take this giant piece of silver, for example. If I were to hit this thing with a hammer, it would create a dent, but the metal that you displace with that dent has to go somewhere. So if you can control where that somewhere is, you can shape metal in a very effective way. Here's a practical example that I thought I'd show off because it's kind of fun to see how much this stuff can stretch. I have a class I'm teaching tomorrow, and I'm going to take this giant piece of silver and turn it into stock that is about 1.6 millimeters thick. For the record, this is about 4 millimeters thick. Now, I only need about 36 inches of this, which is about 91 centimeters for those of you who don't use freedom units. So I can just go ahead and toss that other part and work with this. Now, we're going to go ahead and use this rolling mill here, and you'd be shocked just how much I can stretch this thing out. I'll start things off by using the square dies to flatten out any sharp corners and also true things up a bit. I won't name any names, but the square stock sold by a certain supplier is often more trapezoidal than square. Once that's done, I will take it to the flat dies and begin compressing it into a rectangular shape. It's important to do this process gradually, as in taking the metal down little by little, as if you go from one extreme to the other, you can end up with some structural problems down the line. So usually what I'll do is, after I reduce it to about half of its original thickness, I will then anneal the metal so that way it becomes soft again. In this context, annealing just means heating up the metal to a dull cherry red color and then cooling it. Without getting too far into the weeds, just think of that as resetting the metal. Sterling silver is one of those metals where the more you hit it, compress it, or stretch it out, the harder it gets. And if you keep working that silver after it's become hard, the metal can develop stress fractures or cracks. I don't know, maybe I'll make a video about that if people are interested. And now, as you can see, it is quite long. But exactly how much longer, you're probably wondering. Well, let's find out with my measuring tape here. I can already tell it's going to be well over 5 feet. And we have run out of tape. Let me just put my thumb right there. And alright, so about 64 inches. Hey, it's me from the future. So I'm willing to admit that maybe 60 plus 14 is not 64. It might be closer to 74. I've hired a team of scientists to work out this complex equation, and I will keep you updated in the comments. Long now, which is substantially longer, and I could make this piece of metal even longer than this if I kept rolling it out, but at that point, it might get too thin to be usable, so we're going to stop here because this is what the class requires. So, yeah, hopefully that's illuminating for you. See ya.